So first job after Christmas, I'm just pulling in cables for the alarm system. It's a Texecom alarm, Premierelite 24, I think it's called. Got a couple of Odyssey bell boxes that go with it. A keypad with the proximity pad, so you don't need to put the code in all the time. And I'm putting door contact on most of the internal and external doors. I've also got a dialer that I'm going to put in, so if we get an alarm, I don't think a lot of people take much notice of them just ringing away, but with the dialer it'll ring us and it'll send us a text and stuff like that to our phones, so we can sort of be alerted that it's going off and come round or send somebody round. You can also listen in and stuff like that on it once the alarm's triggered, so that's that. I've also linked it into smoke alarms as well, so again if the smoke alarms go off it'll trigger it and it'll also dial it out that way as well, so we'd know what was happening there. So I've been on most of the day just getting the cabling in. Like I say, most of it's 6-core alarm cable. There's a couple of ones that are 8-core, just what I had spare in the garage, so just put that in. So that's that. This is, I won't go around all the door frames, but this is basically what I've done. So I've brought the cables down the wall, drilled them into the top of the door frame. There's going to be like a hidden recess sensor in there, so sometimes look a bit awful, them big bulky ones you get on the outside, but the recessed one's nice and hidden out the way. Like I say, I've put them on as opposed to the PIRs in the corner of the rooms, because I think you can get a lot of nuisances with PIRs going off falsely. You get spiders in them, pets setting them off and all sorts. So with a good old door contact, they pretty much eliminate false alarms, or they're a lot better than the PIRs anyway, or the microwave sensors and that type of thing. So anyway, I'll update you again once I start doing some second fixing of putting components on, and we'll keep you informed there. But this is the back of the keypad. It's got the 4 cables to it, got a transmit and receive data and a tamper circuit, a little tamper spring there. There's an address there, so if you've got several keypads you can address it. And this keypad's also got the option of a couple of zones with tampers as well. So you can have a 24 zone panel. Out the box it sort of comes with 8 zones, and you've got to get expanders, but you could use the 2 zones in here if you wanted to. Various LEDs flashing because I've got it powered up at the minute, it's in engineer mode. So really straightforward, like I say, for the basic wiring, transmit and receive data and a tamper. And get it on and off, literally on and off, just push it back, slide it up and down. There's a little screw in the bottom. Yeah. So we're looking at the control panel now. It's a Premierelite 24. So out of the box it comes with 8 zones. I've got an expander on it, which I've got my phone for light, which is that unit on the top there. So that's the expander unit. I've got several of the zones linked out at the minute. They're going to be for like outhouses and things like that. So I'll get them connected up in the next few days. But I've linked them out because I've programmed them in just so I could program it all together and linked them out. So the little green LED, you can see that with the cover on. That's like the heartbeat one, so that's supposed to flash steady. And that tells you the control panel's healthy. Got a nice big battery in there to your power supply. Like you say, you can see all your zone connections. So out the shelf it comes with these connections down the bottom. This is the extra one. So you've got the bell and then your 8 zones. Up here is the communicator. So they're your output terminals. So I've got 3 cables there going to this unit here, which is a dialer. So they send 3 signals out. So there's a panic alarm, fire alarm and a normal intruder alarm. And what they do is alarm out if there's any issues. This unit here is the speech dialer. So this is a speech and text dialer. Like I say, it gets a trigger from the main alarm panel. Speech and text. So if the alarm goes off, it'll call several numbers that I've programmed into them. So it'll call with a message, and it'll also send a text. Once you get the phone call coming through, you can press a sort of an arrangement of keys to do sort of various tasks. So you can either just cancel it down, you can listen into the property via a microphone and a speaker what's built into it. You can also get a remote mic and speaker, which I haven't got set up at the minute, but I might. So that's basically, I'm not going to take the cover off it, but it's got these 3 input cables. They go into there. there's a power going into there. So it's very straightforward. And all you need to do is basically put your own code in it, so it'll come out the shelf with code 1, 2, 3 or 4, whatever it is. Put your own code in it, program your telephone numbers in it and record a message, but it's really straightforward to do. And that's it. I mean, this isn't the cupboard, so it's out the way, but it looks a little bit like the keypads. Like I say, that's the main control panel. You want a good quality battery, because if you notice when people have power cuts and the bells outside start ringing, that's because the battery in here has failed. So good quality battery there. Again, it's a nice tidy control panel. 16, like I say, 8 zones out of the packet, but we've got 16 in total. It's nice. Just so you can see, that's the control panel with the lid on. When I first installed it, I noticed that light was flashing. I was a bit worried, but when you read the manual, because previous ones I've installed have had a solid green light, but when you read the manual, a steady flashing light is like a heartbeat, so that's happy. So that's right. So I mean, like I say, in my property, this isn't a cupboard out the way, but if you did have it on plain sight, I don't think it'd really be too bad. There's some caps that go in the screw holes, but I need to cover off later, so I've left that. It's got a little fuse spare at the side, and then the speech dialer. There's a telephone point behind that monitor. The speech dialer just goes into there for now. It's all very nice. And just one last thing with the dialer, when it's out of engineering mode, it just says ready there. So that means any alarm, so smoke alarm triggers it, panic alarm triggers it, or normal alarm triggers it, it'll dial out. So just so you can see them, and I'll show you in the door in a minute, these are the door contacts I've used. So they're a recessed contact. You've got the magnet bit and the contact bit, and it's like a reed switch, so when the magnet's there, it'll make a contact with a bit of metal inside or whatever. Move the magnet away, the contact will break. Comes with instructions. So these ones are an anti-tamper one, so your wire goes through the top onto the terminals, and a little tamper switch there that needs to be made, so if somebody pulls it off, it'll set your alarm off tamper. So terminals, these two shiny ones are your alarm contact, and the tamper ones are at the back, which is a bit confusing because the tamper switch is at the front. So that's that. And the panic alarm, got a couple of these dotted about the house. Basically, to set it off, push the 2 red switches up at the bottom and that'll set it off. Inside, the quite fancy ones, these ones, so you can address them. I'm just using it as a basic basic panic alarm. So you've got the alarm circuit and the tamper circuit. And I think when you're using it in that mode, the dip switches all just come out, but it explains it all in the instructions. But if you want like an end of line and monitor your tampers and monitor different zones, have several linked up with different addresses, you can do all that. And these weren't very expensive, nice fun. That's it, sort of not used. And there were, I think it was about 6 or 7 quid, and the contacts themselves maybe a couple of quid each. So nice, good value for money. So that noise in the background's just Alicia, but anyway, that's one of the door contacts in the door frame. We haven't painted the door frames yet, but you can see that's just a wire coming down above. But you can see very discreet, so they're nice. And then the top of the door itself, I don't know if you can see that or not because I'm down here, but that's it there. These doors are coming off and getting changed for a hardwood one. There's Alicia on the phone while I'm busy at work. Anyway, that's the door contact. But these doors, like I say, are coming off and getting changed for hardwood ones. So I've just put it in lightly for now. But you can see, when it's shut you can't see it at all. So not like the ugly ones that used to get bulked on. So cable and wires, by the way, I've chased it in, but I haven't tacked it back yet. I just left it loose just in case there was any issues, but now it's all sort of wired up and commissioned. I'll do that next. But with the menu, I'm in the engineering menu now. You've got that for your wireless devices. You've got your part arm zone set up. You've got your engineering utilities, which are for your walk test, your bell test, strobe test, stuff like that. Changing engineer codes. You've got your set up users, so you can set up your users in there. So I've got several users set up here, and you can also set them up with different access levels and different rights. So you might have your sort of your own self as the master user, but then you might set up the cleaner so that can come in and disarm sort of the main house, but not outhouses or something like that. DigiPoint. So you've got the digital point set up. So I've got a separate dialer, so I'm not using this, but you can get a dialer card that goes into the unit, and if you have that, you can set that up from that. System outputs, which are looking at the sort of the outputs that I'm using for the alarm, fire output, and the panic alarm that are going to be dialer. Expander set up. So that's for your cards, you know, if you're getting more zones up to your 24 zones, like I say, out of the box it comes with 8. Keypad set up, again you can address it. I've made it so it doesn't make a loud beep when I'm changing it. When I part set it so it does silent sets and stuff like that. Global options, so things that are common to the full alarm. Area programming. Zone setup, so you can set up your zones, so you'll have the zone, so what type it is, so is it an alarm, is it a panic alarm, is it a fire, is it using the main set, is it using the part set, and log off engineer, which I will now. And then you can see there, so I've programmed it, the house name, time and date. It's in power, I've set it up as power save mode, so if there's a power, it's quite bright at the minute, but if there's a power cut, it'll go off. I have turned the brightness down because it was like glaring bright. You can turn it down to next to nothing, but in the hallway it's not bad. Pod now, so it's not as bumpy. But one other thing we have got are these fobs. So I mean, I've put it on just so I know which fob's which. But the fobs, you come up to it, fob it, welcome back, Ellis. I've set do you want to arm the system? Yes. Now the dining room doors open, the kitchen doors, loads of doors open, so it won't set. Do you want to cancel? Yes. But if I come in, fob it, do you want to unarm the system? Yes. Fob it, do you want to arm it? Yes. If I want to part arm it, be part? Yes. So I'll have a couple of parts set up. So I've got an evening part that sort of sets up various parts of the house but leaves bedrooms unarmed and stuff, because those are the ones we're using. But I have like the outbuildings alarmed all the time, so I've got that across 2 different part sets. It has as well, if you've got a panic alarm feature on it, got a fire alarm feature on it, you know, so it's all good that way. Smoke alarm up here, I'm going to trigger the smoke alarm. So I'm going to trigger the smoke alarm, which should trigger the alarm, which should then ring me. So that's causing an alarm. And then you can see the house is ringing me. So I'll then ring it and cancel it down. To unset the fire alarm, it's just a reset because it's just a fire alarm, so we don't need a code for that, so it's nice and straightforward.